Coco Gauff has arrived in Toronto, and she didn't waste any time making her presence felt. The American superstar stepped onto the court with one goal: start her tournament with confidence. And against the talented young Alina Korneeva, Gauff delivered exactly the kind of performance her fans were hoping to see. From the very beginning, Coco looked focused. Her movement was sharp. Her ground strokes were aggressive. Her defensive skills were once again on display. And most importantly, when the big moments arrived, Gauff stayed composed. The result? A convincing victory that sends Coco Gauff into the next stage of the tournament with momentum. But here's the bigger question. Is this simply a first-round win? Or could it be the beginning of another major run for Coco Gauff in Toronto? Today, we're breaking down everything you need to know about Gauff's performance, the key moments that decided the match, what this victory says about her current form, and what could be waiting for her next. So stay with us until the end, because Coco Gauff may have just sent a very important message to the rest of the field. Coco Gauff arrives in Toronto. Coco Gauff came into Toronto carrying enormous expectations. Whenever Gauff enters a WTA tournament, the attention is almost automatic. She's one of the biggest stars in women's tennis, and fans around the world are always watching to see how she performs. But with that popularity comes pressure. Every match is analyzed. Every mistake is discussed. Every victory creates new expectations. And that's why getting off to a strong start can be so important. Gauff didn't need a dramatic comeback. She didn't need to survive a marathon match. Instead, she wanted control. And that's exactly what she appeared to find. Standing on the other side of the net was Alina Korneeva, a young player with plenty of potential. Korneeva is the type of opponent you can't afford to underestimate. Young players can play with freedom, aggression, and absolutely nothing to lose. That meant Gauff needed to stay focused from the first point. And she did. Gauff sets the tone early. Right from the opening exchanges, Gauff looked ready to dictate the match. She wasn't simply waiting for Korneeva to make mistakes. Instead, Coco looked to take control of rallies and put pressure on her opponent. Her movement around the baseline allowed her to stay in points that many players might have already lost. And when she got the opportunity to attack, Gauff didn't hesitate. This was important because one of the biggest strengths of Coco's game is her ability to combine athleticism with aggressive tennis. She can defend, she can counterattack, and she can suddenly turn a defensive position into an offensive opportunity. That combination can be incredibly difficult for opponents to deal with. Korneeva tried to find her rhythm, but Gauff kept making her work for almost every point. And as the pressure increased, Coco began to look more and more comfortable. The pressure starts to build. Tennis can change incredibly quickly. One moment, a player looks completely comfortable. The next moment, a single break point can change the entire momentum of a set. Gauff understood that. Instead of rushing through important moments, she remained patient. She made Korneeva play one more ball. Then another. And another. That patience eventually created opportunities. And when those opportunities came, Coco was ready. This is something that has become increasingly important in Gauff's game. She doesn't necessarily need to win every spectacular point. Sometimes, the most important thing is simply staying composed and forcing the opponent to play under pressure. Against Korneeva, that approach worked. The longer the rallies continued, the more difficult it became for her opponent to escape the pressure. Gauff's athleticism makes the difference. One of the most noticeable parts of Gauff's performance was her movement. Coco is one of the quickest players on the WTA Tour, and that athleticism gives her an enormous advantage. When opponents think they've hit a winner, Gauff can sometimes get there. When a rally looks finished, she can extend it. And when she gets back into the point, suddenly the pressure goes back onto her opponent. That's exactly what makes playing against Gauff so frustrating. You can't assume that one good shot will be enough. You may have to hit several excellent shots just to finish a point. And against a young opponent like Korneeva, that constant pressure can become mentally exhausting. Gauff continued using her movement to stay in rallies and eventually turn those rallies in her favor. Gauff stays calm when it matters. Another positive sign was Gauff's composure. There will always be moments in a tennis match when things don't go perfectly. A player can miss a shot, lose a point, face a break point, or suddenly find themselves under pressure. The difference between winning and losing can sometimes come down to how a player reacts to those moments. Gauff showed that she wasn't going to panic. She stayed focused on the next point, and that mentality allowed her to maintain control. Final thoughts. So, What did we learn from Coco Gauff's victory? First, she looked ready. Second, she handled the pressure. Third, she didn't allow Korneeva to dictate the match for long periods. And finally, Gauff showed the kind of confidence that could become extremely important later in the tournament. Of course, one match doesn't guarantee a championship. There are still plenty of challenges ahead. But every tournament run starts somewhere. And for Coco Gauff, this Toronto campaign has started in impressive fashion. The American superstar has made her first statement. Now the question is, who can stop her next? And now I want to hear from you. Do you think Coco Gauff can go all the way in Toronto? Can she turn this strong opening victory into another deep tournament run? And after watching this performance, do you think Coco looks ready to challenge the biggest names in the draw? Let me know your prediction in the comments below. Backhand index pointing down tennis. If you're a Coco Gauff fan, don't forget to like this video because it really helps the channel. And if you want the latest updates on Coco Gauff, Alex Ila, American tennis, and the biggest stories from the WTA Tour, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Because this Toronto tournament is only getting started. Coco Gauff has made her first move. Now let's see how far she can go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next tennis update. Go Coco!